Good morning and welcome to Perth, Western Australia for what is sure to be a nail-biting contest between the USA and Canada in this sudden death semi-final in the mixed division. My name's Cole Fink and with me in the commentary box is Katie Locke. Welcome, Katie.
Good morning, and as we can see, the Canadian pool comes up, USA starting out on offense.
So Henry Fan, one of the captains of this team and a central handler, moves it to Kirsten Johnson. Oh, hand block right off the mark.
Fantastic hand block there by Alyssa Mason from Team Canada. Canada get a chance for an early upwind break. Looking to center it through the handlers here. Scarf with the disc. Great layup bid there from Mason. She puts a really high flick up. That's D'd by USA. They get another chance to convert.
Great grab by Joe Frund, and he's now hucked it. I don't think that's going to sit enough. If you've watched much of our live streaming so far, you'll know that this is quite a windy venue this week. The weather has been lovely in terms of the sunshine, and the wind has been pretty blustery and at times pretty strong. At the moment, it's blowing pretty consistently left to right on our screens. So throws downwind like we just saw from Frund will need a lot of touch on them to sit up, and throws upwind like we're seeing from Canada will need a lot of power on them and a lot of spin and not show too much of the disc to the wind, Katie.
Yeah, that's right. We got Team Canada getting some handler movement here. There's been a pick up the field as indicated by our favourite hand signal, sun's out, guns out.
So we've got our two game advisors here, Hannah Monty and Ruben Berg, and they'll be helping the players to officiate this game. As Canada uncorks a big one.
Tremblay Jones sending that one down to Mason, and she reels that one in. Double happiness for Mason. She will be ecstatic. Great early conversion there from Canada.
So that is an incredible start to this game from the Canadian mixed team. These two countries are probably the oldest international rivalry in ultimate frisbee. Of course, the sport invented in Ohio back in the 60s, and you'd imagine it probably spread to Canada first. So there's a long time rivalry between these two countries, and the Canadians will love that, an early upwind break. We can see that they've signalled they'll be playing the next point with 4 men and 3 women. So the way the gender division works at this event is that for the first half, 1 end zone, at the moment that's the end zone to the left of our screens, gets to choose whether they'll play 4 men or 4 women on each point. And in the second half that'll flip, and it'll be the right hand or downwind end zone that'll be picking whether to run 4 men or 4 women. That was a phenomenal start by the Canadians. And to take an early break upwind and put the US on the back foot immediately. The US now under pressure to hold this crucial upwind point.
We have Winchenko indicating he is ready to pull. Send it up. The Winnipeg native, one of many Winnipeg players on this Canadian team.
So here come the Americans. Welcome everybody to this exciting matchup. My name's Cole Fink, and with me in the commentary box, Katie Locke.
Hello, hello. And we've got this exciting mixed division matchup between USA and Canada, oldest rivalries in Ultimate.
So Canada with a stunning upwind break against the USA to start the game, and the USA now forced to work upwind through Stubbs, Good Johannes, and now Alex Hardesty. Good Johannes with the disc, and that's a nice little look back through to John Stubbs. And the USA with an offensive hold. That brings the score to 1-1, and Canada now facing an upwind battle to hold on offense, Katie.
That's correct. They'll be able to put a nice strong line on for this to make sure they can hold and potentially convert another break.
So the USA started this game on offense, and we're heading downwind until we saw this phenomenal hand block
from Melissa Mason.
And that was a crucial moment in this match. She was able to effect the turn that the Canadian team converted upwind to register a break to start this game. And the USA were unable to hold them back. It was that phenomenal upwind put that scored the point. And the USA now have managed to hold their upwind O point. So the Canadians now will need to demonstrate all their throwing abilities to move the disc upwind. And JD Hastings, the American Spirit captain, launches a big OI backhand pull, and the Canadian offense is underway.
Canada with the pull, just from the brick mark, moving it to the near sideline. Oh, great bid there from Jeremy Hill, the captain, but couldn't quite reel it in. USA with a chance to answer Canada's early break.
So Tracy Lowe now, the captain, with a lovely flat lefty flick to Dylan Best. Best back to Hastings. Hastings with an OI backhand that floats and expertly brought down by the Canadian defender. Oh, huge bid from Anna Thompson.
Katie Wong moving it down the sideline to Jeremy Hill, the captain. He centers it to Daisy Lynn, his co-captain. Canada with some great offensive movement here, but there has been
called.
Hill there in a paddock of space in the under. This player catching up with him, just return. Hill just can't reel that one in. US again, no chance to break.
So JD Hastings, I'd like to see him make a pick call. He's got some guns and a foul on the throw. Uncontested by the looks of things, so still going to come in on 0. Hastings with a quick dump off to Anna Thompson, and Thompson now to Tanner Johnson, who has launched it, and he's got a wide open receiver in Best. Tanner Johnson with a beautifully well measured throw there. The wind had died down just for a moment, and he did all the right calculations, and that was an indefensible throw, really. I don't think the Canadian defender had a bid on that at all, and Best with a simple read and a simple catch. And the US now have broken back, and it's 2-1 to the United States.
Canada coming downwind on offense though. They should be able to easily hold this. We'd like to hope at least. Both teams showing that they're able to break the other.
So one thing we've seen in the last couple of days, we've started to see a number of Canada-US matchups as we get to the pointy end of this tournament, and the big guns start to clash. And in a couple of games that I've witnessed, certainly the Canadians have come out strong early and forced a break, and then the USA has piled on the pressure and come away with the win. So this Canadian mixed team will be hoping to break that streak by the US teams. And they've showed they've got the skills to take some points off the United States here. Let's see what they can do. They're on offense now, coming downwind.
Bring out their offensive line. Wang in the center here. Swing it round to Winchenko, and he sends it long! Oh, he definitely ate his Weet-Bix this morning. But it's just too far for Snyder to grab. US get another chance to extend their lead.
So picking up through Gucha Hannes. And he's got Alison Griffith and John Stubbs cutting in front of him. Stubbs with the disc. One of the young superstars of this US team. Very famous name in Ultimate. He and his brother, both phenomenal players. Leo Gavol. Hardesty back around to Graman. And Leo Gival has launched it. It's got a lot of air under it. And Matt Guchohannes went up early. Not the tallest player in the world, and I think he wanted to try to secure that disc early before the tall Canadian defender came over the top.
Winchenko said, none of this for you. It's mine now. We have Frank Wang walking the disc up. Early cuts and a horizontal stack from Canada. He's looking to center, dump. Oh!
That was a nice piece of downfield poach defense from Brett Graman there, who cut off some of the Canadian undercuts, and they've managed to force a dump error, and the Americans now with a score. So that's a break on the Canadians. The American team now has scored 3 points in a row.
They have indeed, and they punish that error on the Canadians hard. Put a lot of pressure on both the dump and the under, leaves you with very limited options. Especially in this wind, that dump swing just floated up.
Yeah, it's really been the story of this tournament, is the conditions. The wind has rewarded those teams that have done a lot of work developing their disc skills, and it's punished those who can't put enough rotation on the disc. Particularly, Katie, I've noticed on short throws, it can be difficult to impart a lot of spin on the disc without also imparting a lot of power on it. And so those players who are able to isolate their wrist from the rest of their arm and grip it and rip it, as they say, are the ones who are handling these conditions the best.
Definitely. That takes a lot of practice and skill to get the isolation of the wrist movement from the rest of your arm. So it just shows those who have really focused in on that movement in their training leading up to this tournament. Now, one thing, despite the win this morning, we haven't really seen any zone defense strategies come out yet. So I'll be interested to see if the USA decide to put on a zone or stick with the match defense. It looks like they are sticking with match. Canada quite deep in their end zone. Swinging it around there. Very deep now. Oh,
and
USA with a Callahan! We don't see many of those at high level ultimate, but...
And she's pumped. She loves it. And the USA now, after dropping an early break, have just scored their fourth point in a row through Anna Thompson. That middle flick look, just got a bit of wind underneath it, floated a little high, and Thompson read it best, and she got herself up for the Callahan score. The Callahan, of course, is when you catch a goal thrown by your opposition. It was a wonderful pull, put the Canadians on the back foot from the get-go.
Let's see the replay at this point. Swing over. Canada working through their options in the end zone here.
And this is into a pretty stiff headwind, and that gets under the disc, and Thompson's able to reel it in. And the American mixed team now in control of this match. The Canadians are going to have to really turn it up if they're going to make their way through this semi to the final.
That's correct, and the loser of this game still has a chance of collecting a medal going into the bronze game against the loser of the Australia-Japan mix-up that's on the field behind us. Exciting to see the results out of the way as Canada attempt to work through this really tough wind and claw back from USA's lead. Unfortunately, they can't do it. The wind just pushing down that disc. Too far for Scarf to grab.
Yeah, these two teams athletically look very similar. They've got a good blend of small and fast players and tall, imposing players. And the difference so far, I think, is purely skills with the disc in hand. And right as I say that, the Americans have turned it back over. Ariana Lozano was unable to catch that one. Oh!
Great run down there from Dusay. She gets the legs on it, but just not the hands. At least that's gained Canada some ground, though.
Yeah, that was a well-measured put, and in a wind like this, we saw some comments on the live stream that in these conditions sometimes huck and hope is the strategy to employ, and the Canadians have put it into practice there.
Oh, what a costly in-zone drop for USA, giving Canada the chance to put another $1 in their bank account.
That was just a simple drop from Frund there.
McAleer picking up the disc. Canada in a angled vertical stack. Hoping to clear some space. And they find it. Just finds the safe hands of Jeremy Hill, the captain.
Yeah, they've done that well. So, just a quick look around the other semis. We have the Australia-Japan semi-final matchup on the adjacent field.
And crossing down now to Max Strensham on the sideline. He's been keeping an eye on that game for us. Max, what have you got for us?
I can tell you that the Australians have jumped out quickly out of the gates. They're up 3-0, able to punch in the upwinders that have proved decisive all week long. I'll keep you updated for the rest of the match.
Excellent, thanks for that, Max. Shout out to anybody who's watching this live stream from around the world. I imagine it's evening time in North America, so for those in Canada and USA, hello and thank you for tuning in. I know many of you wanting to see these exciting matchups. This is the third USA versus Canada matchup we've seen in the last 2 days, so hope we have satisfied your North-South rivalry.
So the Americans have called 4 women on this line, and they will be looking to work it downwind. And Anna Thompson, key handler for this American team, she has punted it, and it is an absolute dime ball landing on the head of Tanner Johnson. That was an expertly measured throw. It was absolutely perfect.
That is a prime example of how to do a 2-pound offensive score downwind. Just beautiful. Not too far, but just far enough.
Yeah, in this wind, she's done a wonderful job of measuring the power on that throw. We've seen a lot of these downwind hucks either laser into the ground or sail out the back of the end zone. And she had beautiful touch on that throw. She leaned the disc back so that it would slow down towards the end of its flight. She gave it a lot of spin to give it stability, and it flew low and flat, but sat perfectly for Tanner Johnson. And she made his job very easy indeed. That was an impressive score from the USA. They're now up 5 goals to 2.
Just been informed that there are well over 1,000 of you watching on the stream. Let us know in the comments if you have any shout outs or any questions you want us to answer to our best of our ability. Cool landing just to the side of the brick mark. Ivanchenko picking up. Oh, just sailing right over the head of Mitikman.
Nice grab from Henry Fan on the sideline.
Shame it's not actually on the field.
So Brett Grammon bringing the disc back in. Nice look to the middle. And the Americans again looking to go upwind, although that disc has got a lot of air underneath it. And Peter Galbraith with a good read and a foul call on the throw. So Matt Gucho-Hannes indicating that his throwing motion was impeded. And Jeremy Hill just offering his perspective on how that went down. Let's see if we can listen into Rubenberg's mic.
Do you believe what I'm saying, or do you still think I understand what you're saying? I just think I disagree, and I feel like I got hit in my throwing motion. I hadn't let go of the disc, right, but
So
my arm was in
sounds
the-
like it's contested then. Is that right? What's the still count?
I just want to explain my point. Yeah.
Still count?
Let's go, Canada!
Still count?
One more time, Canada! It wasn't long, I think it was like 2. Sure, that's so coming in here.
So, a contested foul there. And Gucho Hannes will have another look at it. Nice reset back to the middle. He's got Stubbs. We're just seeing the first bit of degradation of the field here too. I believe it was Gucho Hannes. Oh, lovely grab from Joe Frund, and it's being indicated by Hugh Wachenko that perhaps his first point of contact was out of bounds. Frund indicating that he believed his knee hit first. Let's see if we can catch on the replay. We can get a good view of it.
I'm just coming for the mic.
Oh, really close.
Does look like his knee came down, but did it come over the line first? That's the question.
Yeah. Tough to tell from that angle. And the players coming to a resolution of their own. That's great spirit.
Excellent. And Winchenko from Canada pick up the disc. Right in the corner, the end zone. He's got a long option from Hill. The floats, he's got 2 defenders on him. Will he get the pack grab? No, he gets bodied out there by the American player.
Yeah, that disc got a fair bit of wind under it. And it just sailed further than everybody in that pack thought it was going to land. And we have a deep upwind strike. Oh, great bid from Joe Frund. That was close.
Put his whole body into that. Galbraith, Senior Zhao. On the sideline to Hill. Working very narrowly down this sideline to Winchenko. Canada really wanting to get off here. And he said to Haber, oh, that is spicy. Not a problem though. Bit of contact. But there's been a call.
Yeah, I think that contact, the impact, the Americans expected a stoppage. Not sure that looks like they might have called a foul. And the discussion now underway.
So,
hey, team! I need this! Okay, no problem.
We all good? Back to the thrower. These other players should go back to where they were when it was thrown.
So you'll see the downfield cutters reset their positions to their position prior to when the disc was thrown. Canada back on offense.
Seeing it through the centre of the field to Mason. Mason, get a nice inside flick to Winchenko. What a beautiful throw. And Canada getting another point on the board to bring it up to 5-3.
Yeah, that was an impressive throw. Those inside looks are one of the toughest in Frisbee. It takes a lot of practice to develop the wrist strength to put them out and measure them correctly. The window is small, the margin for error is not big, and that is a beautifully executed IO flick for the score.
I've just been catching up on some of our comments here on the stream through that point. We've got a couple of shout outs that people have requested. Shout out to Club UQAM and to Kenneth DeBacker and to UMass Amherst Frisbee team. and Tuan Lamas. We also have somebody asking, what the hell is Vegemite? That is a big question. We might have to get back to you later on that.
Vegemite is the most delicious thing on earth.
See, as a New Zealander, I object to that, and I say that Marmite is better, but...
Well, I can't help it if you don't know what you're talking about, Katie.
It's just about what you're braised on. Down on the sideline, we've got Max Strensham quickly with an update. Max, what can you got for us?
Thanks, Katie. An update in the other mixed semi-final between Australia and Japan. The Japanese have gone on a 3-point run to pull it back to 3-all. And now Oscar Francis has just punched in the fourth for Australia going downwind. So what looked like it could have been a quick blowout is back to a tight one. I'll keep you updated. Obviously the winner of that match playing the winner of the one before us between Canada and the US in the final.
Thanks, Max. Now we've had some action back on the game here, USA-Canada. There was a huge downfield put down to USA, and there was a foul called, but it was uncontested. USA back on possession.
So Anna Thompson looking for the score there, but she hasn't managed to connect. Thanks to our live streamers who've corrected me there. Her name's Anna, not Anna. Us Australians, we like to get a bit nasal with our pronunciation. Anna. So I appreciate your help.
There has been a stoppage. Man down, man down. We have team physios coming on to check that the USA player on the ground is okay. She looks like she's in a bit of pain.
I think that might be Anna, unfortunately. So, at this stage, that looks like it hurt. It didn't. So I think that's actually a strip call there. Dylan Best, I think, secured that disc and then had it fouled out of his hands, and that was uncontested, so great spirit. Thompson slowly getting up.
The great thing about this showcase field is that we have a great natural hill on the side with some tree shade as well. Great spot for spectators to camp up and watch these exciting games. All the finals will be on this field as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a truly phenomenal venue, and we thank the University of Western Australia for allowing us to contest this event here. It is, and I take that back, it's not Anna Thompson, it's Ariane Lozano, and she's on her feet at least and making her way from the field, and she's supported by her teammates and crew. So we wish Ariane the best. Hope that she's okay. So the US now will bring on a replacement player.
Canada also have the option of a substitute player should they wish. Electing not to take that option. And play resumes with Canada. Oh, and we send a spicy flick downfield, but it's read beautifully by Best.
Oh, Best's throw just asked a lot of Michael Ing, but he was good enough to bring it in, and he's uncorked a long one, which is expertly defended by Doucet for the Canadians. And this point turning into a tennis match, the disc going up and down, up and down.
Surely is. The wind not making it any easier. Still seen a lot of match defense playing though. No zones being thrown on. I think probably just what these teams prefer. Oh, despite a good layout bid, that just was way too far for Goddard to bring in.
So Anna Thompson, she is the handling rock of this American team. And why not? We've seen her executing her skills, and she's done it again. She's directing traffic, calls her receiver into the space she wants to hit, and then throws an expertly controlled high release backhand flip over the top. And that is another US score. They're now up 6-3, and they've got the Canadians on the back foot. So that was a lovely D by Doucet. She had a great read on the disc, and unfortunately this dump swing in the wind Just got away from the Canadians. And here we see Thompson calling her receiver into the space. And that is a well-executed score. So Stubbs has got the disc. He'll be pulling into what is, for the moment, a pretty stiff breeze left to right on our screens.
Fremantle doctors said, "I'm here," making his presence known.
Yeah, absolutely. So Perth is on the coast, and it is surrounded by thousands of kilometres of desert in every direction. And as the day starts to heat up, the cool wind over the Indian Ocean gets drawn onto the continent by the rising hot air over the deserts. And the Fremantle Doctor is the local colloquial name for the winds that pretty predictably draw across this city.
Snyder on the sideline here, wanting to move it off, looking for his downfield options. Oh, and he puts out a really floaty flick arc, but it gets pushed down by the doctor. Doctor says, "No disc for you today." USA with the chance to extend their lead.
So Henry Fan will pick up, and we've got a pick call. So there are no picks or screens allowed in Ultimate, even accidental ones. So anytime a defender is impeded from following the player they're actively marking, they are allowed to call a pick. And one of the great updates to the rule in recent times by Woofdoof is that there's now a 2-second grace period, and the intent behind that is that sometimes you get picked, but it doesn't actually affect the play, and you're able to catch back up to your offensive mark before they receive the disc, and in that case, you don't need to call the pick. But 2 seconds, and it's helped the game flow. Right as I say that.
I can't hear you, Cannon. That's contestant stall out. Okay, coming in, stalling 8.
USA managing to throw that off the contestant stall out early.
Claire Revere with the disc across to Good Johannes, across to Henry Fan. And now downfield to John Stubbs. That was a nice gainer. Henry Fan has got the boosters on. Oh, nice bid from Lior Gavol. Lior not wearing a number on his back. There was some kind of issue with his jersey, I believe, Katie. And they requested special permission for him to play without a number. Fortunately, his number is 0, so...
Just no number. That makes it easy.
No number.
Heather sitting down. Great hands by Mason. Oh, sends it through a bit of traffic. A little too far out. Slide of the grab. USA with another chance. Many of those chances come across their hands.
Yeah, the Canadians just look a little rushed with disc in hand at the moment. That's a nice bid attempt. The Americans seemingly never too troubled by what's in front of them and always keen to throw a good option. And Stubbs goes down, having called a foul. He did get a hand up on the disc, and Quinn Snyder, certainly there was a bit of contact between the two. Who initiated it is open for debate, as we see Stubbs go up and his legs come out from under him. So you'll see the game advisors are nearby, ready to help, but this is a self-officiated sport, and it's down to Stubbs and Snyder initially to see if they can come to a resolution. Game advisors keeping track of the time, so that if they can't come, it looks like Stubbs is asking the closest game advisor to see if they had a good perspective on what happened.
So we get a replay of that. Definitely a lot of contact there.
Yeah, on the replay, I think, looks to me like that's a reasonable foul call, and appears that Snyder has taken the advice of the game advisors who agreed, and he's done the right thing, and uncontested foul. Because it wasn't caught, it's taken from the front of the end zone. And Stubbs with a nice, easy look to Claire Revere. They are co-captains of this team, and the USA put another score on the board. It's 7-3, and they are in control of this match.
Yes, definitely, and there's Definitely a noticeable difference in spirit between, not spirit, I should say, energy levels between the two teams currently. The Canadians looking a little bit flat, and they appear to have called a timeout. Probably needing to circle up, re-energize, and have a chat with their coach.
So we've got a timeout called, and as you say, Katie, the Canadians now with a little bit of work to do to build their team energy back up, because the Americans are on a roll here, and at this stage I would say the difference between these two teams has been composure with the disc. The Canadians are plenty athletic, and it's simply choices with the disc and execution on the throws that's been the main difference. I'd like to throw a quick shout out to Spud Shed, a local fresh food market. We've got a massive tribe of crew and volunteers running this event, and the Spud Shed have done a wonderful job fueling us with loads of fresh fruit. And we greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to the Gelati brothers that run the Spud Shed.
Appreciate your yummy fresh fruit. Great produce down here in Australia. The timeout's coming out now. USA with the downwind pull. Canada slowly walking up to their line. Had plenty of chatter on the live chat about Tim Schott. May have to update me, viewers, if he's injured. As he is on their list, I'd imagine he's on the sideline. Canada having a good chat on their line. Trying to make sure that they have a good strategy to try and get this upwind offensive point.
Yeah, it's do or die time for the Canadians. They're down 7-3. If the US score here on this downwind D point, they take half. And that is a huge pull that's rolled out the back of the end zone. So the Canadians will take it from the front of the end zone in line with where it rolled out of bounds.
Wang walking the disc up. Canada set up in a horizontal sack upfield. Again, yet to see any zone put on this game.
Notice the North American teams play almost no zone, Katie, from what I've seen in any of the divisions. Seems to me like the trend in North American Ultimate right now is to play match almost exclusively. Oh! JD Hastings! He has read that throw like a book and launched his frame into the air to take a wonderful layout D grab. And America now looking end zone, and that is an overthrow. Tanner Johnson would love the opportunity to throw that again. He didn't take into account enough the effect of the wind. And the American D-line with it all to do again. That's a nice look through the middle.
Great grab there. Oh, and we get a long look, but it is swirling back. Can Dusay grab it? Oh, and there is a lot of contact in there. With a big call, and no call being made.
So Julia Butterfield, who is a very tall American cutter, is the one who will credit for that tee. There's a big pack down there, and the bigger the pack, the taller you want to be. Stall out called on Tanner Johnson. So we can I can actually hear from the commentary box here the discussion. Tanner Johnson saying that the stall count accelerated towards the end. And game advisor Hannah Monty agreed with him. And so Thomas McAleer did the right thing and retracted his stall call. So Hastings with the disc. Puts that slightly behind his receiver, Shock.
Great bit from Lynn to try and get the D.
Hastings has just overthrown Johnson. So the Canadians with another opportunity to pick it up.
Lang wanting to go off long.
I just don't understand this decision making, frankly. The probability that the offense is going to come down with a disc which has 8 people camped under it seems pretty low.
Agreed.
If the Canadians are going to win this game, they're going to have to play smart frisbee. Huck and hope is not enough against a team as skilled and drilled as the US. As we see Tim Schock launch one, and that is a super grab from Joe Brun. It was a good D attempt from Christophe Tremblay-Jonca, but the US score and take half 8-3 against this Canadian outfit. And as I say, at this point it looks to me like the difference is decision making. The Canadians throwing a bunch more speculative looks. So just got an interesting piece of info handed to us by the crew. The stall out call was made after 7.2 seconds on the footage. So it's not uncommon for stall counts to be a bit too quick, and we encourage everybody to practice your stalling in order to give the player with the disc the full 10 seconds that they're afforded. And great to see that the call was retracted, given that it wasn't a full 10 seconds that elapsed. So that is a great grab that we see on the replay there from Joe Frund. The American team, as I say, looking pretty evenly matched athletically and with the Canadians, but they've made better choices with the disc and they've connected smoothly. So now, what can the Canadians do in the second half? We've got Max Stenstrom's down on the sideline with the Canadian coach. And we're going to cross to him now. Max, what have you got for us?
Thanks, guys. I'm here with the coach of the Canadian team, Alex Davis. Thanks for joining me. My first question is, what's it like being here for you and your players on the other side of the world playing your cross-border rivals?
Well, it sure seems counterintuitive to travel this many thousands of kilometers just to play the same people again. But, you know, we've trained for this long to play for this championship. Like, this has been a nearly 2-year-long process. So the fact that it's the USA is kind of immaterial. It's just another opponent with another set of skills.
Absolutely. So in this half, we've seen the US jump out to a 4-1 lead, and then since then it's been relatively tight. They're able to break into half again. What are you guys going to look to adjust and change to take this one in the second half?
Well, the wind has intensified. It's very much upwind, downwind right now, so the breaks are worth twice as much. So as much as the scoreboard looks disparate right now, there's not that big a difference. If we can get some upwind breaks, it'll be a lot easier to get the subsequent downwind breaks. The main thing I need to tell my team right now is a reminder that this hill creates a boundary layer effect, and we're throwing really high, and that's where the wind actually starts to affect the disc. The low throws, it's not affecting them. But my cutters are over-anticipating the upwind hucks, so they start too deep, then we throw higher, then it turns into a jump ball. So I'm going to be really stressing to my cutters right now that they need to start much, much shallower so that we can throw ahead of our cutters. We've got the speed. USA wants us to put the disc in the air, but if we start shallow and use our legs, they won't be able to catch up in time to force a jump ball.
Well, best of luck. I hope you find some success with that strategy as we look back at some of the highlights from the first half.
Thanks, Max. So we've actually got the opportunity to swing a camera around and have a look at the Australia-Japan semi in the mixed division that's happening alongside us. And we've just seen an incredible hammer goal thrown by Tommy Della to take the lead 6-5 in that matchup. Della has punted that well over half the length of the field, and it was a beautifully measured throw. So the Australians in the lead 6-5. They were able to take a 3-0 lead over this Japanese outfit, and then the Japanese scored 3 in a row to get back on level pegging. And since then they've been trading. And they've got it all to do here, both these teams desperate to make it to the final. The winner of this matchup, of course, will be playing the winner of the USA-Canada matchup. And right as we say that, De Hollander gets a free look at this disc. Simple overthrow by the Japanese. And wouldn't the Australians love to break? Oh! Fantastic spirit showed by the Japanese there. That was very, very close to the ground. And there was just dispute over whether it was up or down, and a Japanese player immediately indicating that they had a good perspective and that it was up.
Great grab from Dawson there.
Wonderful spirit, and the Japanese are rewarded for it. They've affected the D. Anybody who doesn't think self-officiation works at World Championship level, I invite you to check out what's going on here. We've just seen a perfect example of the sort of honesty on display, thanks to the integrity of these players. And what a matchup we've got here between between Australia and Japan. As we have a pick call.
Japanese player had the space, offered an indication of a pick at the field with their defender unable to follow them.
So the wind seriously picking up as the players rearrange themselves following that pick. As we draw our attention now back on our feature matchup between the USA and Canada. And we hope that all of our viewers over in North America are enjoying the footage brought to you here by the team at Ulti TV. And we have to thank Emma and Tom's, who have been filling us with healthy fruit bars and smoothies and fruit juices. It's all natural, no added sugar, great for the body and great for the taste buds. It's delicious.
Can confirm I opted for a Radical Action smoothie this morning.
Radical Action?
Yes. I've been told by head of partnerships for this event, Kelly Martin Brown, that I am their best customer because I buy one of those smoothies every morning.
I want to work for Emma and Tom's in their product development unit so I get to name the smoothies. Radical Action. Just around it.
Speaking of radical action, we're going to need to see Canada putting some of that onto the field as they come down a downwind offense point. Hopefully this should be an easy opportunity for them to make sure they don't creep any further behind the US.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see on the points where they're heading upwind if their cutters take heed of the message that we heard from their coach at halftime, and whether they're able to set their stack up a bit shorter. Oh! Hand block, and the scraps cleaned up by the Canadians.
That was Daisy Lynn, one of the captains. Great grab by her. Canada move it the width of the field here. Oh, bit of contact on the mark there, but no call made. Oh, but resulting in miscommunication between Tremblay Jonquin and Jeremy Hill.
So John Stubbs with the disc now. And he moves it upfield to Good Johannes. Good Johannes to Brett Graman. And he hits Kristen Pochunas. One of the things that's wonderful about Ultimate is the mixed game at the highest level. And one thing I think we can say with certainty is the teams that win use everybody on the roster, from their best player down to their least experienced player, and both their men and their women. And the Americans are doing a good job of that.
Most definitely, and I think one of the things that is a stark comparison in US Ultimate comparison to other parts of the rest of the world is their least experienced players still probably been playing for about 5 years. Meanwhile, we have players on some teams where this is the first tournament.
Yeah, absolutely, particularly in Southeast Asia, where the game's developing quickly, and we see Alex Hardesty, I believe it is, has just called a foul on the throw.
I agree.
I think Lynn maybe got a hand on it before she released the disc.
It was after he let go of the disc. Okay. So, do you want to contest it or do you want to ask? I'm going to contest it because I know the rule.
Contested.
What's the stall count?
It's contested, so it should be maximum 6. Yep.
There we go. Ruben Berg just helping our players correctly use the rules. And Hardesty on still 6 sends a little flip out to Graman.
Oh, fantastic layout bid there from WU24UC. And Canada immediately sent it downfield to him, but it's got far too many legs. If you're going to UPS something, you need somebody to sign for the package at the other end.
So Canada still playing huck and hope here. Sometimes into a strong headwind, that can be the right strategy when you've got the D-line out there, is force your opponent's O-line to work at the full length of the field over and over again and count on them to make some mistakes. That's beautifully run down by Alyssa Sue.
Fantastic acceleration from her.
Serious leg speed. And now a lovely put through from Kristen Pajunas to Hardesty. Hardesty back to Pajunas. Oh, she's just overthrown her. That was the very opposite of dude ball, Katie. Only the women on the team getting a look at the disc.
Fantastic shake-up, especially from my perspective.
And looks like we've got a call back in the centre of the field. Didn't get a look at what that was.
It looks like they have opted for a replacement disc. There is a visible hand on the frisbee, I've been informed, by a sideline. A hole.
A hole.
Visible hole in the frisbee, so it's an equipment issue.
Maybe someone stood on it during one of those turnovers. So Ruben Berg getting the heart rate up and delivering a replacement disc.
McAleer looking to get it off that sideline, and he successfully does that. Just thinking about his options. Oh, and he does send it. He sends that package again. Still too far.
I'll tell you what, they're making Tremblay-Joncar work very, very hard. He must have sprinted the length of this field 4 or 5 times now in this point, and you can see him grimace as he goes.
Not again.
You'd think in his head he might be wondering, will one of his handlers just put a bit of touch on that disc and give him an opportunity to catch it? Oh, handlock on the mark. Hardesty unable to get it past Daisy Lynn.
Canada with an opportunity to convert here, which could have been an easy point. Oh, jumping over her mark. And that congested corner there. And there's been a pick in the set. No surprises there. It looked very congested. Canada want to tidy up this end zone. Oh, and they do. They're gonna swing across. Canada score. McAleer with the goal.
Credit Daisy Lynn there with manufacturing that score. That was an absolutely beautiful thrower-initiated move. McAleer didn't even realise he was about to score when she released that, and she drew him into the space. As we head down to Tam Davis with some news from the sidelines. Tam?
So just reporting on the other semi-final that's going on the field beside us. The score's now 6-6 for Australia and Japan, but there was a very entertaining moment a couple of points ago where Japan put the pull-up, made their way down. The first few passes were made before they realised they had 8 players on the field. So the game stopped, obviously, and there was a minor bit of confusion before people figured out what the appropriate punishment is supposed to be, which is they lose a timeout. So a timeout was taken, game resumed, and all was well again on the field.
That's hilarious. I think the only other time I've seen that on the world stage was in London. Colombia men's team did that against the Australian men's team. It caused a lot of giggles down here in Australia. Thanks for that, Tam.
Thanks, back to you.
Well, you learn something every day, and I have learned what the penalty is for playing with too many players. I didn't realise that it cost you a timeout.
Well, you have to actually call a timeout if you recognise it in your own team. If the other team recognises it, they can just call a violation.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ruben. And if you don't have any timeouts left, what happens then?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Okay. Restart the point. So that's a pretty uncommon common situation to be in. Obviously, no team intentionally tries to gain an advantage by playing with an extra player. It's purely a miscommunication. As we see Dylan Best with a nice around backhand landing with Eli Motika. And Tracy Lowe having a look. Oh, phenomenal bid. Anna Thompson. Anna and Tracy were just moving it sweetly between them. Lots of handler movement, and Tracy has overthrown Anna by the barest of margins. And then Anna has introduced herself to the grass at speed. And unfortunately, come to a bit of grief. It's hard to see exactly what hurt herself there. Her layout form looked great from here. She did everything right. Hit the ground chest first. And she's up. Great job, Anna. Good to see her back on her feet, and she's okay.
Electing not to take the injury sub. Just a bit of chatter on the field. Rubenberg, our game advisor.
You guys okay? Yeah. Just taking a sub? Yep.
It looks actually is taking us up.
Yeah, it was injury called when there wasn't caused by the opposition.
Yep.
So you need to take a substitution, or you can cost your team a timeout.
Yep.
Thanks for that, Ruben. We're privileged to have the head game advisor of this tournament, Rubenberg, on the mic, giving us lots of insights as Canada take back the disc and give it away at the same time.
Yeah, again, the Canadians just not quite as crisp with their disc movement. And the USA able to use that to their advantage as we see a wonderful tee from Peter Galbraith. He read that beautifully, peeled off his player. I don't think he was defending the intended recipient when that throw went up, but he saw an opportunity and he took it. And he's earned possession back for the Canadians.
Scarf with the disc on the far sideline. Looking for his options, he goes for the swing. Oh, almost another chance at a Callahan for USA, but Galbraith gets that one. Oh, slide overthrow to Mason. She trips. And USA picking up from that same point again. That wind just showing how punishing it can be.
So USA winning a war of attrition at the moment. There's a lot of turnovers. Being on the downwind side is certainly helpful. And that's a nice little flip from Kirsten Johnson to Tracy Lowe. And the Americans have scored. They take the lead 9-4.
Canada struggling to get up and get another break here to narrow USA's lead. They're going to have to dig deep and find something different here defensively and then keep calm offensively in order to increase their chances of getting into that final.
Yeah, they don't seem to have any trouble getting the disc off, the Americans, but they're having a lot of trouble moving upwind into the end zone. And they're trying to use that deep game. We heard their coach suggesting that they wanted to set up a very short stack when they were moving upwind, so that there's a lot of space on the far side, the deep side of the stack to throw into. But we just haven't seen those throws coming off. And as a result, the Americans, at this point, always able to get the disc back. Behind us, we can hear the Japanese team celebrating. They have just scored.
7-0.
I believe they're still trading with the Australians in an exciting semi-final matchup. The winner of that game, of course, earning the right to play in the final against the winner of this game. As Tanner Johnson sends up the pull, the Canadians on offense.
Quick movement there from Winchenko. Moving to the sideline. We have Ramek on the disc. She moves it over. Great hands there from Lim. Hops for the around. Sending it through the other handlers. And they're finding some great options here. This is that nice clinical offense that their coach wanted them to play. Haven't seen any errors yet. Limit the disc. Break the mark, swinging around again. Oh, and a great inside throw there. Katie Wong on the other end. Canada ecstatic. They executed the plan without any turnovers. What a clean point.
Absolutely, they used lateral spaces very well there. Move the disc downfield, then move it sideways, change the angles. Move it downfield, move it sideways again. And really nobody camping on the disc there. They were constantly moving it, and that was an absolute laser of an inside flick for the score. And Jared Lind, I believe it was, with the assist. And a good grab in the end zone.
Hook hands by Katie Wong. Shout out to Katie Wong for having an awesome name.
Yes, I got on the Cole Keffer fan club yesterday. Partly because the guy has an excellent first name.
He does. Yeah, I was even though I was commentating Australia in the mixed quarterfinal yesterday, I was definitely in the Katie Flight fan club from GB.
So
She definitely took flight in that game, despite the loss.
America up here 9-5, and they're on offense, coming downwind. We haven't seen an upwind score for a while now.
Yes, the two teams just trading points for a little bit.
The number of players, oh, that was close. The number of players that have now an offhand backhand, which they use for short passes, is growing steadily. I've seen a lot more of them at this event than I have at any World Championship event beforehand. I think that's a sign of skills development among the younger crew. And offhand backhands are the flavour of the month. And that is a wonderful D from Amy Lamb, who read the angles.
Canada swinging round, trying to get off that sideline. To Mason. Oh, great layup, but from USA.
Yeah, that was Lior Gival.
Nice throw there from Guinea, but it just got pushed down too far. For Snyder to reel in.
So in Wooftoof rules, we don't kick the cone away. The cone is a part of the field, and you're to set up a pivot next to the cone. As we see a deep put, and that is going to sit beautifully for Tim Schock. That was a lovely throw from Michael Ing, I believe. And Tim Schock with the easy task of just sitting underneath it to take the score. And the Americans now up 10 goals to 5. They're really in control, Katie.
They are, and the viewers at home in the US will be very excited that Tim Shaw got on the field and got a fantastic goal. So much separation.
As we see the D there. And it was nicely worked, but the Canadians just making an error just on that throw to the end zone. It was a little too wide for his intended receiver. And the Americans punishing it in the other direction. Michael Ing launching a goal to Schock.
Now we've just had an update from the field behind us in the other mixed semi-final. Japan broke upwind to take half. Just peddling back that early lead that Australia had. Be exciting to see who comes out on top in that very tight matchup.
Japan and Australia have a storied rivalry in Ultimate, and it'll be amazing to see who can take this next chapter. Max, you've got some news for us down on the ground.
I do indeed, Cole. After having an opportunity to take half at 7-all, Australia, after an errant huck from Mayolo, gave away the disc, and Japan, in their typical clinical manner, worked it up the field, put it in the upwind end zone to break and take half 8-7.
Max, do you know know who started that game on offense? Who's going to come out on offense in the second half?
I believe that the Australians will be on offense in the second half. So game on still, everything to play for, of course, as they're both looking to book themselves a spot in the final.
Thanks, Max.
Back to this game here. We've got some fantastic handler movement from Daisy Lynn. Handler moving really nicely. She puts a shot in the end zone, and Canada take that one down. That was Galbraith on the end of that.
Yeah, fantastic throw from Lynn. She used the wind to her advantage, and I have heard a few people repeating the old ultimate adage, the wind is a gift, and the better you are as a thrower, the more wind you want, because it gives you the ability to do things that other players can't do, and Lynn there has sat that disc beautifully for Galbraith. He had by far the best look at that reception, and he made no mistake. So the Canadians tick over to 6 on the scoreboard. They're down 4 points, and the USA on offense coming downwind.
Yes, Canada managing to just hold that same separation during the second half, but they will need to find another gear if they want to get into that final.
Absolutely, and it's not an inability to get the disc off the Americans. They've caused turns in just about every American O point, really, in the last 5 or 6 points, and it's just a case of their composure with the disc once they have it in hand. If they can just clean up their decision-making and execution, they really do have the ability to take some points off the US here.
Canada coming out with an excellent upwind pull. So it's really great.
Alyssa Sue busting deep. She's got serious leg speed and she's looking to burn her opponent. Stall count getting up now. Henry Fan just punts it because he didn't know what else to do with it. And great grab from Dylan Best. Bit of a clumsy D attempt there from Wang. Wang unfortunately didn't get a good read on the disc when it was in the air, so he was out of position when it came into catchable range. And Best with no mistake, he hauls in the goal. America now up 11-6. And they have got one hand on their ticket to the final. As we see that throw coming down, and you can see Wang just didn't quite get the read right, and Best able to bring that one in.
US just showing their dominance on offense, and even with those big hucks in this wind, just how control they are of the disc.
Absolutely, Katie. Their execution has been superb, and it's what we've come to expect from the teams from the Americans.
Gotta get one this way!
They are sublimely skilled. So the Canadians obviously absolutely vital that they hold offensively here with the wind behind them. And then somehow they've got to start manufacturing some breaks.
Definitely. With the Canadian offense line coming down, Ari, the Tickman, the Spirit captain with the disc, centers it to Gaudier. Finds Giorgetti. We have one of the other captains, Thompson, on the field for the first time this game. Her sister, captain of the Canadian women's team. But USA get a huge deep in there from Ing.
And bookends for Ing. He's forced the D and immediately busted deep to the end zone. And that is telling. The Canadians now in a very precarious position indeed, because their O-line has got to move the disc upwind. That last around swing just sat up a little bit too much, and Ing came flying in from downfield. And he's a tall player, an athletic player, and that is a well-executed D, as he then busted deep to receive the hardesty put to the end zone, and that's bookends for Ing. And the Americans now up 12-6.
As it will be difficult for Canada to come back from this point. It's not impossible, but it's difficult.
Yeah, they'd have to play perfect ultimate at this point.
And ferocious defense.
Ferocious D, clinical O, and they literally cannot afford to make a single mistake at this point if they want to win this match. So, it's been 2 years in the making, this Canadian team, and it all comes down to this. It's time to go for broke.
Huge pull there. Looking down, away with the disc. To McAleer. Finds Wong up the field. Tries to centre it. Knows it's a safer option. Finds Tremblay Jonker. Some nice offensive movement here from Canada. They're taking the safe options, which is good to see. That's what they need to do upwind. Hugely outbid there from opposite number, Johnson. Zhao still with the disc though.
Whoa, that was close. And McAleer looks end zone. He's got an open receiver.
And that is great aerial height there from Frank Wang.
And Claire Revere, the defender, just quickly apologising after that catch. She made some unintentional contact and wanted to make sure her Canadian opposite realised that there was no malice intended, so quick slap of hands.
Yep. Looks like she just got a quick touch of the butt. Always ask for consent before you do that. Canada now with the upwind offense will want to try and convert a break here.
Absolutely. The wind at the moment not as strong as it has been, so the Canadians would be sending a request upstairs, asking if they could perhaps have the wind turned up for this next point. In the semi-final behind us, Japan and Australia are level pegging at 8-all. So the Japanese have the advantage of being on offense next, so the Australians need to cook up a break between now and the end of that game in order to force a win. And another chapter in the rivalry between Australia and Japan is being written as we see a huge inside-out backhand pull from the Canadians. Gucho Hannes looks upfield and finds Griffith. Griffith around to Stubbs. Stubbs punts it. It's high. Oh, lovely D. Quinn Snyder got up over the top of Dylan Best. That was a great read from Snyder. Canadians gotta take their time here. They've got to hit the right option, Katie.
They do indeed. And is this the right option? It is indeed! Great throw downfield to Wachenko. Canada manages to get a break.
Snyder with the throw, and that is a phenomenal contribution for his team. Great D interception, followed by a half-field shot to take the score. And they claw back here, the Canadians. It's 12-8. And the Americans now, O-line will be coming downwind, and I believe we've got a timeout called by the US team. Just want to consolidate their position in this game. That was a great throw from Snyder.
Meanwhile, while the US and Canadian teams on this field have nice, quiet, concentrated circles, there is rowdiness from both teams on the field behind us. Japan just scoring again, upwind. Australia still keeping their energy levels high, the cowbells ringing, making sure they celebrate the good things they did from that point, even if it didn't go to their favour.
Yeah, I could be wrong, Katie, but if I can see the scoreboard correctly, it looks like Japan have just broken Australia. And that's going to put the Blue Bottles, the Australian mixed team, on the back foot. They're going to need to pull out all stops now. This is their tournament on the line. They've got to go for it.
Most definitely. Especially since regardless of what team they see in their next match, it will be a tough game, but if they want to walk away with some bling, they need to win this game. Otherwise, they have to win the next one as well to walk away with the bronze. We also have the mixed and men's bronze medal matches on later this afternoon. The mixed game at 3 p.m. Perth time and the men's game at 5 p.m. Perth time. So if you're around that time, stay tuned. There's bound to be some USA involvement, maybe some Canadian involvement. Not in the men's one, but in the mix potentially.
Quick thanks to STA Travel, our domestic travel partner. They were instrumental in getting this whole setup underway. And so if ever you're looking to travel around Australia, we would love for you to give our friends at STA Travel a call. They offer great deals and wonderful customer service. As the USA comes out on offense, no surprises to see Anna Thompson right in the middle of it. With throws like hers, why not?
And there's been a stall-out call by, what do you say, tapping the top of her head.
So that did look like it took a while. My estimation, I doubt that was a full 10 seconds, but it's not like I had a stopwatch on it. Anna holding the disc, seemingly pretty sure that wasn't the full 10 seconds, so it'll come in on stall 8. And she's just gone with a deep shot to Jo Frun.
What a ripper throw.
Oh, what a grab from Frun. Frun had Butterfield looking pretty open when he first caught it, but looked it off. He wanted to make a safe decision. Henry Fan now with the disc. And Fan looks end zone, and he's missed Tracy Lowe, his captain and intended recipient. So the Canadians live to fight another day.
They do indeed. Just being picked up in that far end zone corner.
So our tech team have let us know that stall out occurred in 9 seconds. So closer than the last one, but still just a little quick. One way you can help yourself count a stall at the appropriate rate is to use the word stalling in between each number. Stalling 1, stalling 2, stalling 3.
And there's been a pick further down the field. Players will reset to their positions.
So the Canadians, they need perfect execution and sublime option taking here. Because really to win this game, they have to score now.
Oh, and a great break throw from Goddard to Scarf. Just centered. Oh, that was a low disc. Not too tough for the hands of Goddard though. Goddard, one of the Quebecan players on this team. Oh!
Fantastic
what a
team!
layout.
Jo Frun and Galbraith retracts his call, which I think was the right option. And they look to Frun in the end zone immediately, and he makes them pay. Wow, what a player he is. He's had a huge impact on this game, Katie, both defensively and offensively. He's huge, and he knows how to use it.
That's what matters.
As they say, you can't teach height, as you and I would both know. I reckon us standing on each other's shoulders wouldn't be as tall as Jo Frun.
No.
And we head down to Max, who's got some news on the Japan-Australia matchup.
I do indeed. Japan has just scored 3 quick ones out of half. It's now 11-7 to Japan. They've pulled away. Australia calling the timeout, looking for an opportunity to respond. Maybe they'll make some tweaks, make some adjustments. They were able to stick with them in the first half, but Japan have found another gear.
Thanks for that, Max. And bringing it back to this game, let's see if Canada can find that other gear that Japan apparently have.
Yep, it's 13-8. The Canadians on offense. And if they needed to play perfect frisbee before, they almost need a miracle now. They need to score every offensive point and break the USA 5 times to win this game.
Technically not impossible, but very difficult. As USA come up the pool. It's getting pushed back by that wind to about the halfway mark. Picked up by Tickman. Sends it up the line to Wang. Trying to get off the sideline. He centres. Finds the hands of Atkin. Oh, great defensive bid there by USA. Doesn't reel it in though. Lamb with the disc. And a couple metres out of the end zone. Shots a good opportunity swing. Oh!
Well, the bid there from number 21, Matt Kucho-Hannes. He didn't hit the disc, but his presence was enough to throw off the Canadian receiver. So give him the credit. That was a phenomenal defensive effort. Great grab downfield. Butterfield, back to Kucho-Hannes. Megan Ives now sends one long, looking for Stubbs! Well, the American team, they are playing some seriously good frisbee here. And they're showing that in the mixed division, you need a cadre of men and women who are willing to trust each other and make great decisions for each other. And that was an absolutely sublime piece of disc movement up against the wind. Every throw, every decision was a great decision. Every throw was well executed. Every catch was secure. And that is why at this point in time, they have match point after match point at their disposal. The score's 14-8. The game advisors have done their dab to indicate match point. And the Canadians now need to score 7 points in a row to win.
Yep. I've seen it be done before, but very unlikely that Canada's going to get there right now.
To give them their credit, they have played a phenomenal tournament. Just the one loss to the Japanese. And with that, you'd have to say a final between America and Japan would be a just result for this division. And the Japanese, certainly with the skill and capability to take out the Americans, they've done it before and they can do it again. But this game's not over just yet. The Canadians moving upwind.
That right. Oh, but there has been an early turnover. America getting a chance to find that win right here, right now.
Hastings with the disc. Puts it across to Shock. Shock back to Hastings. Hastings has shown a lot of wind to that one. And give him the credit. Perhaps that's what he was going for. It didn't look like it when he released it, but it's in. It's a goal to Dylan Best. And the assist to Hastings, and the Americans take out this mixed semi-final 15-8 and book themselves a trip to the final, Katie.
They have indeed.
There's the throw from Hastings. Over the top of 2 Canadian defenders and landing in the lap of Dylan Best. That's a fantastic way to finish this game, and the USA deserving winners of this matchup, you'd have to say. And the two teams into a huddle now to reflect on that game quickly, and then of course they'll form a spirit circle. And I'm honestly not sure if Hastings was going for Gavol or the eventual receiver Best there. The wind picked up.
I'm just going to let you guys know on the stream quickly what time this bronze medal match for Canada will be. Canada playing the loser of Australia-Japan, of course. That's at 3 p.m. Perth time, and that is midnight on the West Coast for those of you in Vancouver and BC. And for those of you on the East Coast in Ontario and Quebec, that will be 3 a.m. So potentially one to watch in the morning if you're not going to be up at that time, which I would not be surprised by.
Fantastic. And what a phenomenal matchup. What a phenomenal matchup between the USA and Canada here in this mixed semi-final. It started with an early break from the Canadians on the very first point. They took an upwinder off the Americans and then successfully converted downwind. And then the Americans found their groove and turned it on. The wind, of course, playing a big part. We see a Callahan score there. And fair to say, Anna Thompson, the central O-line handler for the American team, number 19. She was an absolute superstar in this match. She dictated play and generated a lot of their scores. The wind, of course, had a big influence on this match. It was very difficult to control the throws in these conditions. And we saw a lot of layout bids, layout Ds, and overthrows and grass throws. And in the end, I think the difference between the two teams was the composure of the Americans on offense. They made good decisions and crisp disc movement. The eventual score, an American win, 15-8. And they used their deep threats really well. Michael Ing, Dylan Best, Joe Frund, their tall cutters really played a huge role in this game. And they have booked their ticket to the final, where they will see the winner of Australia and Japan. The USA win this one 15-8 over Canada.
Speaking of that USA-Japan semi-final, that game is still going. There's plenty of time within the clock, so we're going to throw the camera around so those at home can stay tuned on that match and see who's going to be playing USA in the final and who's going to be going up against Canada in the bronze.
So Tom Della with the disc. We will. It's 11-8 to Japan as we see a huge layout T. We're going to follow this game now to its conclusion on this stream. And the Japanese with disc in hand. They are knocking on the door and they've scored!
12-8 to Japan. They've extended their lead and getting close to booking their ticket to the final.
So the Australians now have had a fantastic tournament. They played in the showcase match to open this event against India. And it was an absolute thriller. They took a 7-1 lead and coughed it up and ended up going down, I believe, on universe point. So the Japanese up 12-8.
Just bear with us a moment while we get those scores switched.
The Japanese, of course, famous for their quick disc movement. They use tight spaces so well. And with the game clock at not quite 90 minutes, Japan played clean offense here. You'd think it'd be a game to 15. And that pull landing just out of play. So Mikey Lau my teammate from the Chile Ultimate Club in Melbourne, will take this disc back to the brick mark, and he's supported back there in the handler set by Kate Robertson.
My teammates from Heads of State Club in Melbourne as well. Australia in vertical setup. Robertson looking for her downfield options. She finds Dal Hollander.
He is a massive man.
He is a tree trunk of a man, along with Michael Vernon. Not currently on the field. Good reason, they split them up. And Kate Robertson sends a huge huck. And there's two Japanese hands. One doesn't reach it, the other one does.
Ishii Risa with the D there, and Robertson was at a high stall count and forced into putting that up. She did the right thing, I think, in terms of gaining some yards for her team. The wind has died down for a moment, but it is still pretty strong most of the time, and on this field it's running right to left.
She threw what I like to refer to as the throw. Self-bleeping myself, of course. And Japan's first throw off that turnover, not converting. So we have Lau with the disc on the sideline. Let's see if Australia can get this point in the bank. Lau over to Robertson in the centre of the field. Oh, just a slight overthrow there for Bell.
So Muraoka working with Takahashi.
There's been a pick in the stack.
And Yamane back in the handler set for the Japanese. The distinction between handlers and cutters for the Japanese not always so clear. They often run cycling offenses where players will move from the handler set to the deep space and back again. That's a high throw, but brought in well. And Muraoka launches it. And he's got his receiver. Hikari Sato. What a throw. He has landed it on Sato's lap. She just waltzed in to take that disc. And the Japanese break again. They're up 13-8 over the Australian Blue Bottles.
Japanese just continuing to pedal through that extra gear they found.
That is a great catch and a phenomenal throw from Muraoka. And a beautifully timed deep cut from Sato. So the Bottles now in a position not unlike the Canadians were in the game before them. They have to play absolutely perfect ultimate at this point in order to book a spot in the final.
Exactly, the Japanese only having to score 2 more points to confirm their ticket. Meanwhile, the Australians have to get 7. Australians coming upward now. It's going to be tricky, but they proved to us yesterday they definitely have the throws to cut through this wind. An excellent quarterfinal against Great Britain yesterday afternoon. Coming up 14-10. Using the full 100 minutes of the game, and not much more. Scuff to Trong, Mayolo. She finds Dawson. Gives it back to Mayolo. Australia working through a vertical set. Oh! And we have Trong throwing deep to Dal Holland, to Vernon. Oh! And the second tree trunk, Vernon. He gets that disc. He is satisfied.
That was a beautiful throw from Mikey Trong, and it was placed to perfection. He knew his receiver had a major height advantage over the defenders, and the Australian Blue Bottles, with their signature cowbells, they love to make a racket. They love to have a good time, and Mikey Chung would be happy with that throw. That was a beauty.
We had a comment on the live stream from James Smith saying that he'd like to hear the Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi chant, and would like us to confirm if it is a real thing. We can confirm it is a real thing, and we might have to tell the people on the sideline to get their chant going.
So I just need to confirm when you do Aussie, 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 it's got to be fast, and you have to do the triple Aussie twice at the start. Some people that just don't understand Australian cheering only do the Aussie, Aussie, Aussie once, and then they do a single Aussie. That's just not it. It's Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oi, oi, oi! Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oi, oi, oi! Aussie! Oi! Aussie! Oi! Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
Oi, oi, oi.
Anyway, that was just a demonstration. We're not cheering.
We
We are completely impartial here in the commentary box.
Of course, and I'm not even Australian anyway, so who do I cheer for? Technically nobody.
So the Japanese through Ahashi. Sakai back with the disc now. Back to Ahashi. And Ahashi out wide, but it's just over the top of her intended target. Naoya Maguchi.
Robertson walking over that far sideline. Get that disc. I'm going to make an early call here that we're going to have Thomas Della with the goal. I love throwing to our tree trunks here in Australia. Instead, he is playing in a handler position, so he's Robertson's dump.
I did witness Tom Della throw an absolutely monster hammer goal earlier.
Oh,
Put that disc up high.
that's a fantastic grab from 19-year-old Dennis Tran. And, oh! I almost called it. Almost.
That is the commentator's curse, Katie. And Tommy Della, he will be filthy with that. Tran with a well-weighted throw in this win. And Della just couldn't get the clamps on it. Expect him to go hard on D now to try and make it up.
Japanese in their J-stack.
And the local crowd going nuts for the bottles as Murakami moves the disc forward to Kondo. Kondo back to Miguchi. The Japanese so capable of finding lanes to throw the disc through tight spaces. Ohashi and Sakai working together with Miguchi. That's a beautiful upline cut from Ohashi.
We've got a pick in the stack. Players just correcting their positions.
Major height disparity here between Tom Della and Nobumasa Ohashi. But that won't trouble the Japanese. They are used to this situation and they have developed a game style over many years that does not rely on height for success and instead on sneaky little cuts like that one from Ohashi.
And there's been a call made.
Everybody get to the shade.
Francois having dispace called on him by the Japanese thrower. Haruma. Correction, sorry, that is Miguchi.
So one of the things that Woof Doof has done recently is alter the contact rule on the mark so that rather than having to call a foul when you're contacted by the mark, you can call contact, which resets the stall count to 0. And I believe their intent there is to try to reduce the amount of really close marking that teams were developing. And as we see an overthrow from Miguchi, and the Bottles get the disc back, and the sideline gets loud.
Getting loud and rowdy on the sideline. Both the Australian players, supporters, volunteers. Kate Robertson throwing a flick huck. The wind just curving it, not quite where she wants it to go. Australia needing to put some tight defense on here to prevent another Japanese goal.
Yeah, Robertson having trouble dealing with the mark there. The mark was able to effectively shut off some of the throws she wanted to get out. And Naoya Noguchi calls a timeout. Keen, obviously, to see this Japanese team punch it in. And we will see time cap elapse during this timeout, which will mean that we'll play this point out, and whatever the score, the highest score at the end of this point, we'll add 1 to that and play to that number. So if the Japanese score, it will be a game to 15. If the Australians score, it will be a game to 14.
One of the exciting things in Ultimate is that you always have to win to score. So, as in, score to win.
Score to win. Yes. I was having trouble computing that for a moment, but
Yeah,
we've got it now.
you knew what I meant.
Yeah. You can never win the game just by being in the lead. You must score to win a game of Ultimate, and if your opponent continues to break you, then eventually they'll overtake you and take the win. So the Blue Bottles looking to come out intensely here. They're dancing, they're singing, they're jumping around.
I think a lot of the Australian teams, the type of teams who play their best when they're having fun.
Yeah, definitely, Katie. The Australians love to play with energy and excitement. And the Japanese, it's got to be said, are no different. There's a conga line going on the sideline here. They're having a good time. They can sniff their opportunity to play in the World Under-24 Ultimate Championship Final in the mixed division. They are 2 scores away. And Miguchi has Tommy Della flailing.
Oh!
And eventually crashing, potentially. Della indicating no contest.
Yeah, his throwing can sometimes mean he just gets in your face a little. He has a very active mark.
He's a high-intensity bloke all round. Ohashi now with the disc. He is a crafty little handler, and that is a nice shot. But I think it was Dawson with a layout bid, which threw off the receiver enough to affect the D, and the Bottles are still in this, Katie.
Oh, 100% still in it. We have Project Lad teammates Kate Robertson and Tom Della working as the handler duo on this defensive line. Robertson getting the swing off to Della. This frame, no match for Miguchi. Oh! And Miguchi just
returning a favour.
Yep. Despite his smaller frame, is still able to get a foul on the mark on Della.
So Della finds Francois.
Francois sends it down the line to Dawson. Dawson, oh, and a flick hack. Leaping and curving over the head of Thomas Della. But the Australians have gained a lot of ground here. The Japanese having to play the hard yards and working it up to get the upwind.
Rob de Hollander absolutely screaming here on the sidelines. He's asking his Blue Bottle teammates to give it absolutely everything in the closing stages of this match. So Yahata, the spirit captain of this team with the disc, she centers back to Sakai. And that signature Japanese rapid movement. And not quite. I think that was Ryotaro Murakami with the bid. And Della punts it
to Tran. Oh! And he has hands for days on that. Excellent throw out from Della. And Australia find the D. They find a player in the end zone and they've done it. Great early work from Francois and Della to get that just moving and finding Tran busting off on his bike long.
So the Australians used their key technical advantage over the Japanese height. Della just sat that flick out to Tran way up in the air. And that is a score for the Australians. It's 13-10, game to 14 because time cap has elapsed. So if the Japanese are able to control this disc, they will book their ticket to the final. The Australians needing to score 4 breaks in a row to win this game, which is difficult, but not unheard of.
Exactly. I mean, earlier in this tournament, we saw India take a huge number of points in a row against the Australians after being down a huge deficit.
So Mike Lau with the pull. And I think he's bricked it. He has.
Floating into the untouchable cricket pitch on the sideline here. It's been roped off for convenience.
So we have Takuya Seki bringing the disc out to the brick mark, and the Japanese in a straight vertical stack with everybody in front of the disc. That's a nicely weighted throw out to Miguchi. Oh, sublime. Absolutely sublime. The Japanese just moving the disc at will there, and they have punched it into the end zone and taken this match out. Final score is 14-10, and the Japanese will face the USA in the mixed championship final.
We'll be live streaming that tomorrow on this channel. Meanwhile, the Australians will be playing Canada for the bronze at 3 p.m. Western time today. For those of you tuning in from other parts of the world, for Australia, for the other coast of Australia, that's 6 p.m. And for Canada, it's between midnight and 3 a.m. depending on your time zone.
This is just, this final point, it is
So
a perfect
critical.
showcase of Japanese ultimate. Rarely does an Australian defender get an opportunity to even begin a stall count. Those crafty Japanese cuts move the disc quickly, laterally, and Nakano, it's fitting, the captain of this team, Genichi Nakano, scores the winning goal to book a place in the final as we head down now to hear from Max Stenstrom on the ground.
Thanks, Cole, and thank you to all the viewers for joining us for this live coverage coming to you from UWA Sports Park in Perth, Australia. In the mixed division, the bracket is now finalised. The US will be meeting Japan in the final tomorrow morning. And in the bronze medal match this afternoon, it will be the Australian Blue Bottles, the local heroes, against Canada. Don't go anywhere, we'll be bringing you both of those games live from the World Under-24 Ultimate Championships.